Challenge Grand Slam of Curling, the first stop on the Grand Slam of Curling schedule this year. I'm Brent Lang, joined by Chelsea Carey, two-time Canadian champion and guest announcer today. Tyler George, I think, hired the wrong travel agent, so he left. But no, plans changed as we continue to get our feet under us here with streaming all of the games, all of the action, which is pretty cool. We've got the ladies' quarterfinal action here, 4 games across the sheets, and time to get down to business, Chelsea, and see who's going to win this thing. How much of, obviously, you played in the event, so you watched a few games. Would rather be on the ice, but great to have you in the booth. And without getting too far into it, how'd the week go?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we thought we played better than our results showed, unfortunately, but that's, there's no easy games at the Slams. No. You look at your schedule and you go, holy smokes, how is this possible that we're playing Anna Hasselborg in the B side, right. Second game. So, yeah, it was just one of those weeks, but yeah, we felt like we played pretty well. It just kind of didn't come together, unfortunately, but if I can't be on the ice, then I'm happy to be in the booth.
Right. You love curling as much as anybody in my experience, and seeing you on the ice and around the game, so great to have you. And you hit the nail on the head, and we've talked about it all week. There's no easy games out there, and it's pretty easy to see now. Like we were just talking about teams missing. Hasselborg not qualified. Obviously, your team not qualified, and Silvana Tiranzoni. It's you need the breaks to go your way, but you can't have almost an off end now as the game continues to get better and better at the highest levels. So I'm way more comfortable up here. It's a lot easier. Mistakes, I mean, we make more mistakes up here maybe, but...
Yeah, but you haven't missed any shots. That's the important...
No, I know exactly what I should do out there, but no, haven't missed a shot all week. But looking forward to the action. I think the crowd will be great again, and of course, Sportsnet covering, I don't know which feature game.
Looks like maybe Homan.
Sheet C feature game, so that's Team Homan versus Team Kim in one quarterfinal. We've got Team Fujisawa taking on Team Gim right beside them. Our feature game, obviously, is Team Wrana versus Team Einarson. And then we've got Team Constantini versus Team Laws. Team Laws coming through the C event last night, knocking off Tiranzoni in a close battle. But single elimination, doesn't matter how you got here now, Chelsea. Once you get a chip and a chair, you're 3 wins away from the title. And Robbie, that's an embarrassing dance, but I like it. I don't like this song. It reminds me of Newfoundland Briar, which was amazing till the last game, Chelsea. Going through a lot of PTSD.
I was going to say
this week.
I mean, most people like it because of that, but I can understand the PTSD on your side.
Yeah, no, what a great week, and looking forward to going back to St. John's. Our next stop is in Nisku, Alberta, which I understand is just one of those other towns on the outskirts of Edmonton.
It's the airport.
Okay, perfect. I thought that was Leduc. Is that not the same?
It's pretty, they're like 5 minutes apart.
Okay. So Alberta, always great to go to Alberta. Curling Heartland, and then the big one, I think, is the third one in the schedule, late November, early December. We're not going for the weather, we're going for the people and the curling to St. John's, Newfoundland. The place will be rocking. And the food, it is unbelievable. And maybe George Street.
Maybe the odd.
I've never personally been there, but I've heard good things.
Gotta get screeched in,
Yeah, that screech is, that's rocket fuel.
It is rocket fuel, but I think the kissing the fish is worse.
Could be. When I did it, I think it was a dead one, so it wasn't so gross. I think it was already stuffed.
Mine wasn't stuffed. It was definitely dead, but it wasn't stuffed.
I shouldn't have said that out loud, though, because that's probably going to happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to tell you that's not legit, and it didn't count, so you got to do it again.
But the Maritimes here in Charlottetown, PEI, the place has been basically packed all week, and St. John's, the rumor has it that ticket sales are going extremely well. I hate to say it's sold out, because then people might not call and check for tickets. They do have some tickets left, but if you want to be in St. John's, which, trust me, you do, then check out Grand Slam of Curling. Get the app. I don't have to remember all the different things and places to send you. If everybody just does me a favor and just downloads the GSOC app, everything is in there, and if it's not, just let us know, and I'll just let somebody know that actually can get something done about that. And
you're responsible.
They'll add it in, yeah. I'm not really good at anything. I know who is.
I mean, that's a skill.
Yeah, that's a skill, knowing people.
Yeah.
So as Robbie Doherty, the MC, part of the band last night in the Grand Slam of Karaoke. Chelsea, you were there. Thoughts on the first of many, apparently, Grand Slam of Karaoke challenges?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. We missed the early part. I didn't see all of it, but I saw the last couple of performers, and a member of Team Retornaz taking that down. It was really good. I was, I'm glad I didn't, not that I would have signed up to sing, but I'm glad I didn't because I can't sing. And so then I didn't know if it was going to be more like entertainment and kind of funny or actual talent. It was actual talent. So
that was the question. You either got to be super bad. You don't want to be just like average.
Yeah, you don't want to be okay.
Like you're trying.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was.
Either have to commit to being terrible or actually have some talent, which I don't. So
everybody was pretty good, but Mattia,
Mattia was impressive. I didn't see it coming. He just got it, and then he opened his mouth, and I was like, holy smokes.
I had seen him sing somewhere else before, and I know he practiced, so he was taking it seriously, but he reminded the whole room why people fall in love with rock stars as he sang like a love ballad up there and just melted some hearts.
Totally.
But we're just about underway here. So in the quarterfinals of a triple knockout, it's easy to figure out who has the hammer. And other than the two B teams playing, which that was Holman and Kim, they drew for the hammer. But everybody else, it's the higher qualifier. So less losses gets you the advantage of the hammer. Also gets you the extra rest, which if you can get through the first two ends is an advantage, but sometimes it's that rust shows. I mean, when Team Jacobs hits the ice tonight, they'll have been off the ice for almost 2 days. Probably good for guys that old. A little extra rest.
Yeah, I'm sure Benny doesn't mind that, but it is like I think I always have said if you knew you were going to qualify, you probably wouldn't. Maybe C is too many games, but B is probably what you would pick because you're not quite so rusty. You don't have the whole day off, but you haven't played 100 games like you potentially can in C. So it's one of those things. You always want to qualify A because you know you're in, but does the rest show is the question.
And I've always said the same thing, Chelsea. Couldn't agree more. More time on the ice, just comfortable with the atmosphere, the rocks, everything else. But as Nicholas Sedin showed us today, if you don't qualify A, you drop to the B. And if you don't qualify B, you drop to the C. And unfortunately for him, he ran into Brad Gushu in the C final. Nobody expects that, but they had a barn burner of a game, and he lost in an extra end, and he finds himself playing well and not playing on the weekend, which is, unfortunately, it's just a reality, as you already said, for your team this weekend. So the Team Einarson going to start with the hammer here. Linda Stenlin starting off the game for Team Wrana. They were late scratches from the Grand Slam of Karaoke, and they were maybe the one I was most excited. They apparently had costumes and they had dance routines, and of course I'm sure they were going to sing ABBA, right?
Obviously. I mean, if they didn't, I would be very surprised and probably disappointed,
But old Freddie Lindbergh, Coach Freddie, apparently said no, that is not happening. So they laid out a challenge that whoever wins this week, they're coming for you in Nisku. And so Mattia, I'm sure he's at Green Gables right now, I think, doing some content for the Grand Slam of Curling, but I'm sure he'll be practicing and defending his title. I got my hands on the belt last night. It's legit. It's not plastic.
I saw you sort of put it on the
nice,
stage.
But I don't have the skills to win it, so that was the only time I'll wear it. I got to present it, which was closest I'll get to it. So Kristen Karwacki lead for Team Einarson. She played great yesterday. Her and Kristen Gordon had a battle at lead. Didn't really miss anything. Starts off this game. How she left that one. What's the 5-rock rule done to change the game, Chels?
I mean, it makes a huge difference. It essentially takes away your ability to play defense when you're up because you can't peel guards. So it made a big difference. And I think, to me, between the 4-rock rule almost gave the advantage to the team that didn't have the hammer because you get the second guard. So to me, the 5-rock rule put the advantage back in the hands of the team with the hammer, which I think it should be. So I think it's a great rule, and it certainly makes for more exciting curling with the lack of ability to peel guards. You see a lot more rocks in play when the score is a bit lopsided, which is what we want as fans. So it's been great for curling, in my opinion.
I would agree with everything you said there. And speaking of that, we see all 3 games that have started, the TV games a little bit delayed, as it often is. That's on purpose. That's not a delay. It's just when they start. But center guards in all 3 of the other games. And are you noticing? I know you've always played fairly aggressive. Are you noticing? That's probably because you grew up and thought, I want to beat this Jennifer Jones in Manitoba, so we better learn how to do it the way she's going to force us to play.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing, and I mean, I've watched a lot of ladies curling over the last 10 years for obvious reasons. I'm noticing more and more aggression, more and more, guards, come arounds, and those types of shots. Is that accurate?
I would absolutely agree with that. I think that it's kind of just the way the game's gone, and if you're not able to do that, you're not going to win. So rather than kind of play, and it's the other thing about 8 ends too. You see more conservative starts maybe in a 10-end game with a rock in the house and a blank in the first end, where in 8 ends you don't have that much time, and often the ice is as good as it's going to be in the first end. So it's kind of take advantage of that while you can, and it makes for really exciting curling. So as a fan, as somebody who unfortunately isn't on the ice right now, I love to see that because we're going to get rocks and play right off the hop here.
Yeah, and as a commentator, it's hard to commentate blank ends. You got to kind of look somewhere else and talk.
Yeah, you're making up stories over here.
Yeah. Tyler, tell me again how you beat me where?
Yeah. That one time.
Yeah. So this is another great looking just rubs the guard, unfortunately, but uncomfortable situation, I think, here for Carrie. Yeah, she's going to run up, and this is another part of the game that on both sides, men's and ladies, the run backs that people make now. It's not whether or not they're going to make contact, it's if they're going to make it perfect or not.
Yeah, you see people making a pretty good long run back, and they don't perfectly stick it, and you get a broom slam now. It's
right?
It's changed completely for sure.
Super spare, Super D Dawn McEwen playing second this week, and she's made her share of these run backs, although it's not a shot she probably practiced for most of her career, but mixing things up there, keeps 2 red ones in the rings, changes the guard color, so pretty good result. She doesn't look super excited, but I think she should be first end.
I agree.
That's maybe when you get the most misses on the runners is that first end when you're guessing if it's going to curl that 1.5 inches or 2. And
yeah, little fresh spots. You sometimes see some curl with peels, where in the 3rd and 4th end we won't see that once all the spots on the sheet have kind of been thrown and swept and broken in. Then you usually will see them run quite straight. But yeah, in the first end, it can be a bit of a guess. Like, you put the broom down and you're going, is this going to catch some fresh pebble and curl a couple inches, or will it run super straight? So yeah, if you're going to get a miss, I agree with you. I think it's early in the game probably versus later.
Probably another reason to play a little more aggressive. Maybe you get a accidental 2 or 3. I mean, the last game of the C final, Team Craig found out that playing aggressive in the first end can lead to a 3 if the other team starts slow, which Team Cooey did, and they stayed slow, which is just friendly.
Yeah, that was awfully nice of them.
Yeah. But another run back now being called for. Same shot, so this is, will it do the same, or did I take the pebble off enough that it's going to be a shade straighter? And usually it's a shade straighter. Looks like Dawn threw it to think it was a little straighter, but still got the curl. Almost a bit of a disaster, but
yeah, it worked out.
Not terrible.
It's not great, but it's not as bad as it could have been. I thought that might be worse when it hit the guard.
You can see it coming by. If that curls a little less, kills that one and leaves the yellow on the top of the button. So
still things looking pretty good for Team Wrana here in the first end. They'll be pretty happy with the situation. Good work to do for Team Carrie Einarson to make sure she has a shot to score. It's not looking much like a blank or a deuce at this point, unfortunately, for them.
No, I think you nailed it there. She's thinking, we got to smash some yellows and make sure that I have a shot to score here that's not going to stress me out too much.
That's the other thing about the first end is what's the draw weight going to be if you've got to go out wider than the draw to the button path, right? So we have seen this week the ice has been pretty good, but if you do get into a new spot, it's quite a bit different speed-wise. So you never want to have to throw that in the first end against 3 or 4. It's what you just said. It's all of a sudden it becomes a pretty nervous, draw to the 8-foot, but it's not as easy as it might look.
No question about that. So Val Sweeting, crazy. Now I guess long-time third for Carrie Einarson now. It seems like they just got together, but that's not true.
It does seem like that to me too, but that's just us aging ourselves, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I thought she was trying to hit that on the high side, but got a pretty good result. Cleared up the front. Spins out of the rings. Would have been nice to hold the shooter in the rings here. I must have missed the call, or they changed it. I thought she was playing the double and roll behind the corner guard, but
yeah, it's what I thought as well. But
we are kind of kitty corner from this action, so we can see it. We've got a great setup here. As you said, Chelsea, it's been nothing but world-class. Home team live, bringing you all the games except for the feature game. That's just because of the overhead cameras and stuff. I don't know that we're showing that one, but The other 3, so if you get tired of listening to me, which I'm sure you already have, just listen to Chelsea. But the other 2 games are streamed as well. And as a curling fan, imagine when we were growing up, I've been saying this all week, Chelsea, if you had access to this many games to watch. I know you would have watched them all. I would have watched them all.
I definitely would have. I remember calling curling clubs and asking for score updates in my dad's games. You couldn't check. There was no internet. I used to call and say, what's the score on sheet 3?
Yeah, that used to happen all the time.
The poor people that worked there were so tired of me calling every 10 minutes, but that's the only way you could find out.
Speaking of aging ourselves.
Yeah, I did a good job of it there.
Yeah. So it looks like they overcurled a little bit, and Carrie's going to change gears. I would have thought she would have slashed that corner guard maybe into the side one and kept it open, but you could see if they don't make something really good, they're going to have to make a good draw, so maybe take a couple cracks at it.
Yeah, and that's the challenge. You always hate throwing corner guards when you don't have the hammer, and that's what, unfortunately for Isabella Wrana, that's what she just had to do. And it was the right call, I think, but they wanted that a little bit tighter and probably a little bit closer to the center line. So as it stands, it becomes a corner guard for Carrie, and you switch gears here and try to get your 2 out of nowhere.
Good shot. Didn't get shot rock, but took the big steal away in all likelihood.
And takes the pressure off a little bit at least for the last shot. And still, I mean, it's not shot, but it's frozen. So if she ever made a run back and made contact, so now for Bella, going to have to kind of figure out what the play is here. It's a fairly long run back, right? So do you just leave it and hope she doesn't make it, or do you kind of try to throw a guard on there and say back to you to carry?
And normally you'd be happy to throw the guard, but that intern red one's making me a little nervous if I'm Wrana here.
I agree with that.
It's not a lot of places to draw to lie too. Sometimes that's the answer, but
yeah, not a lot of real estate. You could, if you ever could, that's probably the best result, if you could be kind of back T-line, back button there in the forefoot on the right-hand side as we look at it here, but it's not a lot of real estate to draw to. And if you're ever short, it's a disaster, because then you leave her a double to sit 2 both buried.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear for sure. And looks like she's going to take it on. She could hit that corner guard, but first end, she doesn't know the spot really well. Like hit and roll a little bit and leave it. Maybe Carrie would then freeze again, or I think she'd probably run it back. But
I think so too. But I think at this point, you just can't miss this short. So I think you throw it fairly aggressive, and even if you're heavy and you're not second shot, it's still a long run back. It's still not an easy shot for Carrie. So to me, this is one that you throw very much with the tolerance in mind, that if you miss it heavy, you're probably okay. And again, in the first end, usually if you're a little bit heavy and your broom's off, like you just don't sweep it, it'll die a bit in the house. So maybe it stops for you, but you don't want to be short. So I'm sure that's what's in Bella's mind when she's going to throw this one.
And you're exactly right. That is the miss here all week, is the in-betweens, this light and over curl. But they like it, sweeping it a bit to curl, and now switching back to the straight, and it looks pretty good. Doesn't quite get second, or maybe
it's close. It looks like it might be
close.
Yeah.
So Carrie knows she's going to have a pretty open shot, just doesn't want to throw against more than 2. Rip this out of there, probably have to draw back over there again, and Carrie will probably play the hit, and she's going to see this shot twice. How's it been playing with 3 this week, Chelsea? A lot of chatter about that. Obviously, we're seeing it more and more.
Yeah, honestly, it was we hadn't done it before, so we weren't sure what to expect, but it went pretty well. The girls, it's tough on the sweeper, but luckily my teammates are young and fit, and Carly did an amazing job sweeping by herself, and the communication was actually pretty good. So yeah, I mean, an interesting experience for sure. Not something I've done before, but yeah, we I mean, obviously the results didn't show it, but we felt pretty good about it overall.
That's good. Yeah, there's kind of some talk about making a rule that we can't do it.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, and I see both sides.
I do too, and I wouldn't be against a rule opposing it, but for now it's and we've seen it done in the men's side a lot. Really, yeah. Brad Guji won the Brier with 3, so it's become a thing. You see it less on the women's side of things, I think, but yeah, I can see why it's a conversation, to make that rule, but so far has not happened. So stay tuned on that one.
Yeah, and the WCF is talking about it, but they generally move pretty slow compared to the slams. The slams may have a ruling by NISQ, who knows?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe if we'd done better, they might.
And you see it more in the men's game because men are greedy, right? Checks split better 3 ways.
That's very true.
That's the theory.
That's very true.
But, yeah, that Briar was pretty crazy. Seemed like such a disadvantage, especially you lose Mark Nichols.
Seriously.
Good news is you got Brett Gallant to step up and Jeff Walker. And, yeah, that had to be a pretty crazy Briar for them to win.
Oh, man. Just insane.
And flip side, probably didn't feel great for Kui to lose.
No, I don't imagine it would have.
Not that they ever do, but...
No, for sure not.
So, switching kind of gears here, I would have thought she would have played the same draw, but...
Me too. A little surprised by this.
Could also, I mean, this doesn't change Carrie's shot much. Could also just guard that red corner guard.
Yeah.
If that's what you're worried about. Nice to see that path early, too.
Yeah, I don't mind that. If she runs back the yellow, obviously you're not that worried about it. She's not getting more than one. But her opportunity for two is that wide corner.
It's another one where you're thinking, and you hate to think about what not to do, but don't be light. Don't be top 4 foot here.
Yeah, exactly the same thing where you're not taking on a lot of risk by missing it heavy. It doesn't really change that much.
Don't be there.
That's not, no. I won't be happy with that. Needed to be probably a foot deeper.
Oh, wow. Get 2 out of here. I feel like you get 6.
Seriously, start the car.
We had those rhymes here, right?
Definitely room. She has to hit it thick. She has to err on the getting 1, too, but it's definitely there. Carrie can throw it plenty hard, and it's just kind of 3/4. You only got to move that like 3 inches.
For sure, it's there. It's, you got the right person throwing it. You've got to throw this pretty hard, like you said, but if you miss it thick, you get 1, and you're pretty happy with that. And if you ever tap it, you don't have to move it very far. If you could ever tap it an inch or 2, then, like I said before, deuce out of nowhere. I mean, even more so than when I said it the first time.
Right? And we see it every week, but this week there's been so many momentum swings, like out of nowhere. Part of that was early on. There was a lot of misses because, dealing with the green, the fresh ice. And sounds like it's close. It's clean, I think.
I think she got it.
I would say that's a deuce.
I'm going to take a look.
Carrie,
1 for sure.
Carrie gets another late birthday present.
Yeah.
It was her birthday 2 days ago. I forget who gave her one yesterday. Oh, that was Selena.
Selena
gave her
one yesterday, I watched that.
First and birthday presents. Birthday girl. I think that's far enough. They're not kicking them, though, so...
Yeah, they might put a stick on this.
Oh, Val kicked it, so I think it's only 1.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Just 1 red.
Just a little bit light, but an interesting start to our game. 1-0 lead, I think. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong when we get back. But Team Einarson, it goes on the board. 1-0 over Team Wrana. We'll be back right after this.
I'm not just prepared. I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms? Light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Vi har inte varit så mycket långt ner i båt heller. Ja. Alltså, sånt är så här, för oss så runt 10. Bra. Den där kvar. Vi har varit jättemycket där, men jag drog någon med Linda i början. Jag fattar ju att ni... Så lite blandning av blå, rosa och jag får släppa mig.
Welcome back, curling fans. So I would call that a satisfactory start, kind of for both teams. Team Wrana dodged a bit of a bullet, just a small sweeping mistake that almost cost them 2 points when they were controlling the end from very early on. But regardless, it's 1-0 Team Einarson, so Team Wrana will have the hammer here, and starting off with another guard that's higher than Kristen would want, but love to see the guard call. And on the rings update, what else happened out there, Chelsea? Looks like Team Laws is down 2-0. Constantini, who we've seen a lot, she'll be a little confused. She started every game kind of down and won in the last 4 ends. The comeback kids.
What do you do with the lead?
Yeah, I guess if they do the same as they do when they're behind, it'll be really good.
Yeah, true.
And 1-0 Team Fujisawa forced in the first end. So Sticking with the come-arounds,
Okej, 10.
I think the fear would be probably, Isabella talking to Linda here, if we throw a corner guard, you're probably going to see another center guard because that one's so high. Maybe that's not something I want to see this early in the game. So get shot rock, have them chase. That one came fully open.
That guard being as long as it is, you could see this turning into a blank pretty easy because it's hard to not leave a chase. I don't know that you could bury it good enough where you couldn't chase that with a guard being that long and the amount of curl that we see on this ice. So
going to make you earn your free lunch for commentating here in the second end. This might be a tough one to find things to talk about, Chelsea. We're going to have to dig into your, tell me about your Scotties wins.
Yeah. Little flashback.
A chance to roll under the guard here, but like you said, they're going to be able to chase it really no matter where it goes.
Yeah, well, it was 9-8 and you still noticed it. So
as someone who's been in the national team program for a long time, Chelsea, how are you feeling about some of the changes, specifically the idea that we want it to be one big national team, one big happy family? We're not used to that. We're used to not disliking each other, but not helping each other, and Murdoch trying to sell the idea that we're one big team. How we feel about that?
Yeah, conceptually I understand it, but like you said, I think it's a pretty major culture shift for people that have been around for a long time. For some of the younger teams, maybe not so much. You didn't kind of grow up with that. I don't want to say, like you said, I don't want to call it animosity, but that's your biggest competition, so you're not trying to help them because you're trying to beat them. But from a bigger picture standpoint, which is where, of course, David Murdoch is coming from, trying to win gold medals for Canada, does make sense. Why wouldn't you, pool all your resources from your top teams and share that knowledge and make everybody else better? But as a team, and a player, there's a level of selfishness that has to go into it where you want to be the one to win. So conceptually on board, in practice, I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge and certainly a big shift.
Yeah, if you asked back in the day, you went to Glenn Howard and say, how do you feel about helping make Kevin Martin better? He probably would have punched you in the nose. Not only does he not need the help, I ain't going to be the guy to help him.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's interesting. And a lot of pressure on Dave coming into Canada, and I think the panic has been overblown.
I agree.
We still have some reasonably good curlers if you look around.
Yeah.
But there's only so many curling shots that can be made in an end, and there's just more teams that are making 8 in an end now. It doesn't mean we're worse. They're better, and that's good for the game.
It is good for the game 100%, but also as Canadians and for him coming into the program, of course you're wanting to kind of see Canada be back on top. And like you said, I think the panic is very overblown. We're not that far off, but it's not as easy as it used to be to win medals at international competitions. So.
No, we used to call kind of I know in the men's game for sure, the Brier was the hard one and the Worlds was kind of the important one.
Exactly.
Not that it wasn't hard, but you only get 1 or 2 chances in your life unless you're Gushu or Furby or something. But
yeah, some people flying in the face of that. But in theory, that's all you think you're going to get. So yeah, it's sort of like you don't get to enjoy your Brier or your Scotties win unless you win Worlds. And if you don't, then it's kind of sullies your whole experience, which it shouldn't.
Well, yeah, that
is how it feels.
Poor expectation and kind of the culture we had built, and it's so backwards. But so good hit and roll, and we are going to see a run back here, a long one. Just misses, rolls for the corner, and how's Carey going to play this? It doesn't feel right guarding one just top 12, but the only other option is to peel the corner guard. So kudos to Carey for not totally putting me to sleep, but I wouldn't blame her if she peeled the corner guard either.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about it.
Well, it seemed to be her first thought, but
you throw the guard and they come around, you're like, oh, maybe we should have peeled the guard.
Yeah.
I think this is probably a good call, second end.
Certainly the more conservative of the two choices, but like you said, if you force them to go around and they make it too good, then you regret not peeling the guard. But if you force them to go around and they don't, and you can chase it and sit too, then you're pretty happy about your choice. So it's a personal preference, I think, on this one. And I would guess that if this was the 4th end or the 6th end, you might not see her make this call.
For sure. And I think you're going to see Isabella here happy to blank the end. Maybe even peel that out. So back to storytelling time, I think.
Yeah, we had a glimmer of hope in there that it might not be, but turns out we're back to square one.
Yeah,
You checked out the Rock Shop, the clothing. It's pretty great stuff. Oh, it looks like you have. You got the logo. You're on brand already. You're a professional.
Felt like I had to be,
I think that's smart.
repping in the booth. Yeah, there's some great stuff down there. Love the new logo, the new branding and everything. It's awesome. If you haven't checked it out, go do that.
So a nose hit and a guard, but yeah, can't leave that there. This is heading to a blank. They're going to nose it, and then Team Wrana is going to have. I mean, to just peel that off and let's go to the next end. I say this about everybody, but as good a hitting team I think as there is in the women's game, but it's just a requirement now.
It is, yeah, you're right. But they are. The Swedish program certainly encourages that. We see it, with Team Edin and Team Hasselborg, all very, very good hitters, and Team Wrana no exception to that. Came up through the same program, the same training. I think if that guard was a little bit longer, you might have seen Carrie go around it, but too close to the house, splittable and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking to not give up the deuce here.
Gonna make me a liar. I don't mind this. Take a chance, make her make the run back.
I don't mind it either.
Carrie's pretty good at these though, and she just got to see Val throw the shot, so she's probably gonna make contact. So, and then the downside is if she makes contact perfectly, all of a sudden you got a tough shot to score. So I like this. I like to take my chance with 8 rocks, especially in the middle, not with just 1 or 2.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think if you were in an odd end here, if this was a third end, there wouldn't have been a question. She would have ran up and peeled that. But wanting to score in the even ends with the hammer, but it's a bit early to worry about scoreboard management in the second end. I know we always talk about the odd and even and all that stuff, but I think it's a bit early for that. So for Bell, I think that's the right call. Certainly would have been what I would have played if I was in their shoes, which I wish I were, but here we are.
When do you start thinking even odd? You personally?
I would 4, I think.
Yeah. Halfway through, and then so 5, 6 in a 10-end game, and
exactly.
The 4th end.
Yeah, that's to me where it's not that you don't think about it at all, but it's just not as important early in a game because there's just too much longer to go to be thinking that you're going to perfectly trade scoring and have the hammer in the even ends the whole way through.
Yeah, I agree with that. So free draw here for Carrie, which is always nice early in the game. Can hear Team Italy right next door, clear as day. The intensity ramps up in the playoffs.
I don't know what they're saying, but we can hear them.
Not really, and I'm still convinced they use Russian words to call her sweeping. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I heard you say that, and once you said it, I was on board with you.
Yeah, a lot of dada, which was always to me was the Russians.
Yes, yeah.
It was funny, we were at St. Vital Curling Club last weekend, and I was out throwing rocks with our oldest, Isabella. And the first thing she noticed was how loud it was in there. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the old Quonset Curling Club, and this is what it's like. She thinks this is a curling club, right? Yeah. This is where she's watched the game.
Yeah, that's not quite the same thing. It's amazing. We played in a curling club event, and then we went to the points bet right after, and it's so much easier to communicate in an arena because you can hear each other where the sound's not bouncing off the walls echoes like it is in those old curling clubs, right? And then I'm helping Bella with something as she's loving the game and trying to learn as fast as she can, and all of a sudden I hear some yelling, and it's like, it sounded like, Fujisawa. You turn around and it's a young Japanese team, and you see the same mannerisms in all the Scottish teams, and you look up to, you're trying to emulate these teams, and I'm sure they've been watching Fujisawa saying that I want that to be me one day, and absolutely.
You almost pick up their sweeping calls and everything. Oh
yeah, completely. You hear all the same tendencies and stuff. It's who you kind of grew up watching and idolizing and all that. I remember asking at one point one of the Scottish guys, because you see more Scots throw with like a Manitoba tuck, like a corn broom and stuff, than you do a lot of other countries, and it's because they grew up watching Canadians, and that's who they were trying to emulate. But that's absolutely, you see, same with you see a lot of people's kids in curling, same idea, where you can see whose child it is based on how they throw the rock, right?
It's true. Very true. One of the teams in the Tier 2 still going, Sam Moybrook. I used to play against his dad, and the first time I saw him slide, it was pretty evident who his dad was.
Yeah, I would say the same thing about Sarah Potts. Sarah Lang slides exactly like Lorraine.
Good thing she doesn't slide like Rick.
Yeah, well, it was going to be one of the two. The first time I watched her slide, I was curious which one.
He had to switch his slide from all that toe tucking. Switched to flat foot and still had some success in seniors, which is hard to do, and no problem there. For Isabella Wrana and team from Sweden, down 1-0 after 2 ends. We'll be right back to see the third end action, live from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island.
And battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
it's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Men heads up om det blir det.
Live from Charlottetown, we're back with quarterfinal action. I'm Brent Lang, joined by Chelsea Carey, and we've got a tight checking match in our game. Not a ton of action in the second end, but 1-0 lead for Team Einarson as we start the third end. Team Holman doing Team Holman things on the feature sheet, of course, on Sportsnet if you want to tune in. I'm seeing lots of social media where they've got everything. You need 4 screens now because every game is streamed or on TV. So at least have us on in the background, give us another check mark, another viewer, right, Chelsea?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
But Rachel getting a big 3-end score in the first end to kickstart their playoffs.
Probably clean for the first one down. Curling now. Curling now.
Kristen Karwacki throwing the center guard again.
So this one's going to be a little bit deeper than last end, which is what they would have been looking for.
Yeah, it changes everything, right?
It really does. Yeah, that long guard, like we sort of knew right away it was going to be a blank unless Isabella Wrana chose to throw a corner, which she didn't. So this one coming a little bit tighter to the rings, and I like our chances a little better of this not being a blank. Not out of the question yet, but...
No, I was kind of hoping she'd be holding the broom near center line, which usually means corner guard.
Yeah, not so much, apparently.
Are they, in general, would you consider them an aggressive team, a defensive team, or kind of balanced?
I would say more balanced. They do bail early with that hitting ability, so they're not they solve their problems with hits, I would say, but a reasonably well balanced approach.
And teams have to decide that. It's an interesting point, Chelsea. Like, you got to decide who you are. Are we going to solve our problems with hits, or are we going to solve them with draws? And Mike Harris and Rich Hart were always funny, and they're like, we're going to solve it with draws, because if we leave stuff everywhere, we only got to make one really good one.
It's true. They're right.
They also gave up a lot of 4s.
That's the
downside.
Yeah, I mean, Jen famously, same thing, solves a lot of problems with draws. There's you just got to make one good freeze, but if you don't, you're in big trouble. So every team has to go through that process and decide, like you said, who you are as a team and what your approach is going to be, because it's basically a fundamental thing.
Yeah. Until you figure that out, you don't know what to call.
Yeah, it's true. Which is not really a problem you want to have.
No. Kristen trying to lock one on here, and as usual, pretty good, pretty close. A little light, but will they go open side now? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So Tyler George, who joined us this week, and was talking about how this is a shot that's you don't see anymore. And since he said that, there's been like 5 times he saw it. But I said the only time you see it is when there's a center guard, a good come around kind of top 8, and then one that over curls or is a little bit short in the freeze, and then you see them go open, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So Carey's going to have to decide, what do we do with this? Do we play the whole end to work it for a hit and roll off the wide one, or do we take on some extra risk? Never going to draw this early in the end, but maybe eventually. This is moving.
Needs to sit.
Not going to stay for second for sure. But it is a biter, but because it's not second shot, Carey's going straight to the draw, which makes some sense.
Yeah, I think if it's second shot, then you certainly have to consider hitting it. You probably would have seen her hit it at least once or twice, but when it's not much sense in hitting it, because you're already sitting second and the angles are pretty good for you, and this essentially becomes a staggered guard with the amount of curl that you have on this ice this week. You can use those 2 rocks in the top of the 8-foot as a guard, which sounds a bit crazy, but it's true. And even if you're back here for Dawn, it doesn't need to be top T-line. It just needs to be shot and buried, ideally.
And when you got Dawn McEwen, hopefully I don't jinx her here, it looks like she's pretty good. When she's throwing the shot, it's like, what makes this lots more than she misses it?
Absolutely. Couldn't ask for a better draw or throw in your second up, so why not use it?
Like you said, that's a good spot. It's shot rock, it's not in the forefoot, but instantly making Chelsea right again, bailing early. A lot of people would draw here at least once.
I think I would, but I'm not surprised that they're not. This is their strength for sure.
Just a straight peel, I imagine. I don't.
Looks like it, yeah.
Anything else, and then Carrie's going to guard, I would think.
Still a good spot though. She missed it, no.
I'd like to be right at least like 30% of the time.
I think you're doing okay so far.
Appreciate that, Carrie.
Seems to have livened up here now. Jag tror typ att de stenarna vi ekar
So anywhere in front of that red one. And then eventually, Wrana's going to decide, we got a draw here, I think.
Yeah, I think eventually they will too. For Team Einarson, you don't want to undercurl this. You want to, if anything, cover sort of a piece of that back yellow because of the angle of that red. So if Team Wrana tries to make a play on it, it's always going back on that yellow. If you show her the left-hand side as we look at it here, that's the only option that she would have to make a play on this. Unfortunately, coming a little deep on this one, but the angles look pretty good.
Heads-up call on that, good communication.
Yeah,
locking it.
Good management there. That's one of those ones where it's not going to be exactly where you want it, but if you do a good job of the sweepers to the person in the house, that communication on, okay, well, we're not a guard, we're to it, then you can manage the line on that and end up with a good angle, where if you don't have that communication and that curls a little bit more, it might have been pretty bad. So
absolutely, it might have been almost set up an automatic triple for
yeah, exactly.
Because both of those slid like 2 feet further than where I thought they were going based off yours.
So drawing now, because there's not really a hit without killing your own.
Especially after that many down.
Yeah, for what was essentially a missed shot, it's life's awfully scary for Team Wrana right now.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if we do that on your first.
The good thing is they have the whole forefoot, so not panic time yet in that sense. She's still, as of right now, going to have a draw to the forefoot for one worst case scenario. So looking to put a little bit of pressure on Team Einarson here with a good draw.
Should be past it.
Looks a little strong here. Gonna be shot though. Just trying to make it curl.
Oh my gosh.
A little under curl there.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't too bad, but I'm surprised you didn't see more finish on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, like a 12.
So back line, this is a weight shot. Sometimes, I mean, there's two basic kinds of shot in curling. You got a line shot and you got a weight shot. This one, the only way you're going to get the line, which is obviously important, is if you have the weight right. Overthrow it, it won't curl. Underthrow it, it'll overcurl. So you need the weight right and let the sweepers make it for you. But this is a huge opportunity now for Team Einarson. This rolls right to the button behind staggers that when they hit it, they kill another yellow. If you had a guaranteed make card that you could play, you might play it here. This is a big shot early in this game.
What we've always called a jump shot. Could turn the end around completely.
It's a great shot. Didn't kill it, but so what?
Yeah, you didn't need to. Beautiful shot there from Val.
Can they see enough of the yellow? Because anything hitting on the red's no good. Looks like maybe.
Quietly. I don't know that you can throw a lot of weight at it.
Yeah, it would just pop out, hey?
Yeah.
And the worst part is it's just going to be lined up. You need maybe play with back line, leave the reds around for catchers.
Yeah, I don't mind back. Even if you just split it, it's not bad. Then you maybe have her both ways, or you got to hit and roll off your own or something. I think it's either that or you start blasting, and it's not going to be good for you right away, but at least just open it up a little bit. But you're going to leave them sitting 2 or 3 probably, and one of them is right on the top of the button, so you don't love that.
Almeida wants to have a look. I want to help you out here, Skipper, but I got to know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
So they could blast it, you know, as we're looking at it on the left side.
Yeah.
And they would still hit the yellow, but you might be able to get both those reds. The one coming in would fly out, and the top one, with how hard they can throw it, would fly out, and leave them lying 2 in the middle.
And at least a way to get in.
Yeah, right now it's not good.
No, this is decision time, because it's sort of going to determine, like, if you blast this, you're just saying, I'm just hoping for a shot for a makeable shot for one.
Yeah.
If you play some sort of tap, you're kind of trying to still keep the deuce alive, but that seems a little scary to me at this moment.
I like it when they play the scary one. Here we go.
I do too. Yeah,
Roll the
as a fan,
dice.
I love it.
What does John Collins says? Time to dance.
Time to dance. I like it.
Not something I ever say, but
I wouldn't either, but it sounds like John.
so yeah, looks like they're playing the right weight too. Taking the ice that looks like just kind of back line.
Yeah.
Hit as much as you can. Tap that one back to the back 8 foot somewhere.
Tap the yellow maybe?
The sooner you can make Carey play those top two, probably the better too. You don't want her to be able to play them on her last one because it's
I'd say
missable almost.
even if you like the tolerance here would be to miss it tight, because even if you move around that frozen angle, it's still better for you than it currently is. You just don't want to miss this on the wide side.
Sounds like they like this. Oh, it's on the top. Never mind. Sounds like they hate it. I mean, tapped it up for second shot, which is important. The lineup on the Reds is still really good for Team Einarson. The yellows is now good for
That's better than it
Team
was.
Wrana. Yeah, for sure. Hard for Carey to hit anything. You could guard the yellow, I think.
Yeah, that's my first thought, is just throw a guard on that yellow onto your shot. Shot rock there on the top of the button.
What do we guard the yellows though?
Val's onto something.
Better guard the yellows. Everybody just open it up.
Carey's worried about the triple.
Get rid of this one.
Yeah, you probably can, and there's a lot of yellows in there.
It's true, that little biter at the back that we didn't think was
Right?
going to be a factor could become one if you see a triple here.
They could probably do that. And
I guess you could play the hit on the yellow one soft and roll directly into yours, like kind of a solid hack weight and hit about a quarter stone.
I like that. You got some room too. If you overroll, it still isn't terrible for you.
Pardon me?
Or you throw it a little harder and make it easier, and even if you come off your own, you're going to double your reds, but you're going to kill a couple yellows.
Yeah.
I don't like the draw so much, but
No, I'm either guarding it or I'm hitting that top one, I think, if it was me.
Okay, I'm good with either the loop or at least normal on the nose of the 7.
Yeah. Like, I'd like to keep the shooter in front and then even kill the 8 to like here. That wouldn't be too bad.
I just worry I only moved their 8 out.
playing the hit on the red, talking about that.
We could make the double.
Yeah, trying to kill the yellow. If you hit that red right close to the nose, you probably push that yellow at least out of the 8 foot, if not out of the house, depending how hard you throw it.
Where does that middle red one go? Does it just go to the side of the 4 foot and leave him a double back,
Yeah,
maybe?
that's
Early time coming.
I'm not really seeing the hit on the red.
And you know what it means
Yeah.
when they call
I
time?
just think I have to
It's
throw it
Rama
hard.
It's Rama time.
And then I'm only keeping my shooter.
I'm with Val though. I don't know that I'd want to be moving. Your red rocks are in pretty good spot for you right now. I'm a little hesitant to move those around.
I agree. Let's see what Reed has to say. Usually pretty direct and to the point, which I like.
And that's what they've asked him to do, and he does a really good job of it.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
So he likes the, it's hard to hear him. I cranked up my volume from my old ears. He likes to hit the 7, which is that top red one.
Yeah.
Firm weight, he says.
I don't think firm. I just don't want to spill the 7 and 8. So you have to stick one.
I just want to make sure we get the 8.
Yeah. Okay. Enter.
So just reconfirmation. It's nice when your coach comes out and it plays the shot that it seems like you're leaning towards. Right or wrong, I like it that a team's right or wrong together and not humming and hawing and go down to the other end and the front end wants this and the back end wants this. And
Yeah, I agree. It's probably not what I would play, but it's not a bad call, and they're all on the same page about it. I see what Carrie's saying about not wanting to throw firm because of the spill, like you said. Where does that middle red go? But at the same time, I think you want to kill this yellow. And with the houses are fairly dead this week. So if you throw anything less than firm, you're trying to move 3 rocks and you're only hitting a little piece of that yellow. It might not go out of the house. So I don't mind firm just to make sure it goes.
got to save the shooter, and you'd love to save one of the other two as third shot. So that's easier to do lighter, but makes the shot a little harder.
Watch, spin that way.
pretty good.
Yeah, they got away with it. That no one was sweeping that red, and they should have been, that middle red. But it ended up getting back far enough that I don't know that there's a double there.
I didn't see that one ending up on the button.
No, I thought it would spin out a little bit more towards the edge of the forefoot.
I guess she did cross it a bit and change.
She
the
did,
angle,
yeah.
but
She hit a little lower than she intended to, but it worked out really well.
We tried too hard to keep our reds that we wouldn't kill the 8, and I still did just hit it out. Yeah.
I don't know. There might be a double. There's almost a quad here, Chelsea. Am I missing something? As we're looking at it now, just a little high, a little centerline side on the top one.
Yeah, I do think it's there, and you got the right person throwing it. Bella can throw it really hard, so if she chooses to take it on, I think it's definitely possible.
They're playing it the other way. Maybe they'll accidentally hit it the way I want them to. Oh, this is over curling on them. Oof. There goes that biter we were so interested in.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, trouble town right now for Team Wrana. Not what they were looking for. So now for Carey gets a free chance to put a lot of pressure on here with a nice tight guardian. If you're top 12, it's probably not bad.
The only good news is that she can't guard them both. Not that she's going to play a hit on her first, but if this was the situation on her last, Carey's going to probably come in and top 8 right in front of those, and yikes.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I like playing something a little more aggressive on Isabella's first. I don't want to leave this. I never want to have this situation be Carey's last.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's. I think you're going to have to. It's not a peel the guard situation. It's you got to run it in and make some noise in the forefoot there to make sure that you have something to score, or something reasonable to score one.
Even throwing peel weight, and I think you can hit that one side button and at least move the other one off the button. And if it just ticks and opens up that forefoot, I'd be okay with that.
For sure.
Go ahead, Don.
Speed, little bit. Yeah, through the break. Stay down, yellow.
Sounding a little tight here, according to Val.
Has to sit. Whoa! Sit.
Carey telling it exactly what to do. I find my rocks don't listen.
Yeah, mine aren't always obedient either. It's annoying. It'd be nice if they were.
Right? They were that one year we had those crazy
Yeah, that's true.
curl, no problem.
No problem. Stop, no problem.
No problem. Speed up, problem.
Yeah, yeah, that wasn't as easy.
Don't be tight and don't be light. It's like,
Pretty much.
but I've spent my whole life doing the opposite.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly the opposite of everything that we've learned our entire lives.
Bizarro world.
It was,
So
yeah, it was that.
Isabella and team see the problem here, so they're going to play a tough shot, play back 4, and if she can get to the nose, I don't think she'll get shot, but
Yeah, but it would change everything. You still, if you get to the nose and make that well, you might have something for 2. Carey's going to have to take it away from you, but at least you'll have a couple options for 1. They won't be easy, but they'll be there. So definitely a tough shot, but there's tons of curl here to make this, especially with these in-between weights. This should go sideways at the end, although this is this draw path where we saw her try the come around and have it under curl, which is not something we've seen very often this week in my experience anyways. Not a lot of under curls.
talked this one into going straight, Chelsea.
Yeah.
You're seeing an undercurl. Don't want to just tick the top one. Almost be better to nose the back one than just tick out of there. That. But stops in a good spot.
At least you can come off it. Not a terrible result.
Carey's going to have to hit that, I think.
Yeah.
Or do we just come right here?
Yeah, if you could walk it down, you'd put it right there, and then she has the in-turn tough shot.
Throw weight at it, and then the 8 always comes here. Play like this.
I don't know if it's catching it.
Okay.
Might. Yeah, I like that actually.
Like we should stick 3 of ours at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if the 8 doesn't nut there, I think it does come here.
Okay.
And then you're 2 there.
So yeah, I think they're well thought out.
Right there.
Just get the shooter to go to the button.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
the
think
rest of
everything
it.
else happens.
Yeah, the rest of it will just happen on its own. This is just a hit and roll. It's one of those ones that's going to look like you're trying to play this double combo thing. It's just a hit and roll.
Because if she ever was wrong here and threw it hard and doubled out those 2 reds on the side, or shooter went over and killed the other one, all of a sudden Isabella would have the same shot for 2, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see how the back red one, it is going to hit the other one. I don't see how it leaves the house, but...
No, that's what Val said, I think, was that they're going to stick at least 3 reds, because I think one of those back ones might go, but not both of them.
Hey!
pretty good.
A little thinner than she was hoping for, I think.
Yeah, the straight roll would have been the best.
Yeah.
So how aggressive do we want to score one here, Team Wrana? It's half open, but as you can see, we can't get near that guard because there's 4 red ones.
I think it's like she just threw it, right? So I think it's pretty much the same shot, maybe a little less ice because she undercurled that a hair. But even if she did the exact same thing, you're not giving up more than 1 as long as your weight's close. This is another one that, like you said, that's a weight shot. Yeah.
Because it shouldn't have curled that much. No. Even because I thought it came down.
Ideally, you throw back 4, back 8 here. So thinking, at least if I'm throwing this shot, I'm thinking, I'm going to try and draw the top 4 foot by myself.
Yeah.
E-line at most, and then let the sweepers do their stuff.
Yep.
Wouldn't really want to hear yep right
No,
away.
I was just going to say, I don't think you want to see him sweeping early.
Oh boy.
Gotta get this by.
Oh boy.
Ooh, great sweep.
Not quite hard enough. And a big steal for Team Einarson after all that madness, and it will be 2-0. Team Einarson over Team Wrana. We'll be back after a quick break, coming to you from the HearingLife Tour Challenge in Charlottetown, PEI.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
We're back. Bone-tingling action. Quarterfinals. No lives left. A little unfair for some. Some are undefeated, some have 2 losses, but that doesn't matter. That's sport. Eventually it comes down to sudden death, and that's what makes the playoffs the most fun. Got 4 quarterfinal games going on for the ladies division here. Tier 1 of the HearingLife Tour Challenge, Grand Slam of Curling Series, event number 1. I'm Brent Lang, joined by Chelsea Carey, and we've got Team Carey Einarson versus Team Isabella Wrana. Canadian-Swedish battle. Been a lot of those over the years.
1 or 2.
And so far, advantage to the Canadians in a 2-0 lead. Interesting end there, Chelsea, and almost got away. We both said in the break that looked like almost handshakes. If that doesn't get by the guard, that's 5-0, and that's too many.
Yeah, definitely. They're as much as you didn't want to give up a steal of 1 there. I have a feeling there might be a little bit of relief on the side of Team Wrana with managing to squeak that by the guard. Great sweep. It's not the kind of ice where, like we said, right out of her hand when they started sweeping, we both got scared. Yeah, because it's not especially with a touch shot like that. If anything, you want to be hearing them say you got room, because it's so much late finish here that it's almost we're not seeing a lot of wide misses. So when it's tight early, you sometimes are in trouble. But great sweeping there from Team Wrana to get that by, and almost tapped it far enough to get one after all that, but not quite. So 2-0, and so now the good news is we're probably not going to see a blank end here, Brent. So we won't have to tell as many stories as we did in the second half.
Perfect, because I'm out of stories.
Me too.
More questions for you. So perfect center guard, perfect corner guard.
Yeah, Carey's
and you're right, here we go.
Top 8,
Fireworks.
So that's 14-5-ish for first down.
I'm going to give this one to Kristen. She's made almost every one of these. Top 4, and then the question comes, and this one's more and more we're seeing the team with the hammer go straight around the corner guard. Is that something that's in your arsenal? I don't want you to give away all your secrets, but...
Yeah, I think you see, it's one of those situations where in the men's game, I think often you'd see a second corner guard in some situations, where in the women's game, you'd see them go around the corner guard they already have, because 2 corner guards, you're going to have to make a kind of a run double or something in the middle, and not that the women can't do that, they certainly can, but the percentage of times they make it is a little bit lower than what you'd see in the men's game. So if you go around your guard, it's just as good, if not better, in a lot of ways, because they can't hit either one. So that 5 rock rule coming into play there with the draw straight around the guard, it still means you're going to have to deal with a bit of a mess in the middle. But given that those 2 aren't perfect, the old commentators curse there on poor Kristen.
Sorry, Kristen. I got her good. I was thinking the same thing. I got to say something though, so it's what I'm here to do.
It's true.
Didn't see that one coming, but they're both in really good spots. Those are going to come into play later, but this makes this call automatic now.
Yeah, you could argue that if it was made, you could look at potentially playing the freeze. I don't think they would have, but you could certainly make an argument for that. But now, no question at all left for Team Wrana to come around that corner guard and try to get it fully buried so that Team Einarson can't chase it. But I think she can see probably, looks like at least half of that from the hack.
Linda didn't get that one quite on the right line. Weight was good, and so you look at the resume of Team Wrana, so young. That hits me in the heart. They're born in 2000. Come on.
I know.
Is that a misprint? The front end born in 2000, and Isabella and Almeida born in 1997, but all have experience at the World Juniors. They won the Players' Championship last year, the creme de la creme of the Grand Slam Series circuit, and this sounds panic tight. Cannot take this guard off. The Rocks are listening to Carey in my experience this game so far. Good shot from Dawn.
I thought that might touch it, and like you said, you can't. The problem with playing the chase, and sometimes you'll see, I know I do it sometimes, where you don't play it on Dawn's first one. You wait, you throw a draw around your guards and play it on the second one just because you can't afford to touch that guard. So it makes it it's not that tough a shot, but when you know you can't miss it that way, then it's easy to miss it on the high side, which is no good either. So it can be a little bit tricky, but no mistake there from Dawn with a great sweep assist to Kristen Karwacki on that one.
And everything Chelsea just said, we think of that sliding out, so we can think through all that in 3 seconds. It's amazing how long that slide is and how much misinformation I can give myself.
How much you can screw yourself up if you let your head get in the way. It's what we all fight every shot.
It was almost an advantage for me if I didn't slide perfect, because then I was just
something else to think about.
Getting it online. But if you slide perfect, it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Now what?
I've said that to teammates a number of times when I miss a shot and I go, I slid too good and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, just let it go. I'm not really good at that.
I don't know how to do that. Yeah.
Looking through Team Wrana's historical slam record, 44 and 49. So been around way longer than their age suggests. But starting to consistently qualify. Not all the time, but nobody qualifies all the time.
It's true.
Not even the Italian Stallions. Unbeatable last year. It looks like this team's never going to lose again. Sudbury Bulldogs, Shoresy, but
13-1. It's just fucking empty.
Oh, another swear jar. We are getting rich up here, by the way. We made a deal early that the swear jar comes to the commentators and we get to do what we like. So we'll put some to charity, but maybe some more Grand Slam curling gear.
I like that. Last time I did commentary with John Cullen and we had a swear jar, all went to charity. So if you guys are taking a piece off the top, I like it.
You had to say that. Okay, we'll give it all to charity, Chelsea. I gotcha. I saw some swear jar whiskey. I wanted the jar. I was almost just going to buy it and pour it out. So a nice freeze by Dawn. And a double, and it does get it in the rings, which changes the look of this end a little bit, but that red rock's a problem for Team Wrana. Oh, Fujisawa. I didn't see that. So steal of 1 in the second, steal of 3. Speaking of the 5-0 we almost saw, Team Gim in dire straits. And they don't lose very often. They're one of those teams where they play a ton. I saw how many games. This is like their 8th event or 7th event.
I know, they always do. Even in seasons I feel like I play a lot, I look at them and it's just every weekend. It's incredible, really, how the sheer volume.
They almost got to 100 wins last year. I saw some stats, and it's like not many teams play 100 games.
My body hurts just thinking about that.
Yeah, Canadians, you got to get to the Brier and then win the Brier or the Scotties to get to 100 games played for a lot of us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, how is Team Wrana going to deal with this? Yeah, switch gears. We're down 2, fourth end, we got to score. I don't see any real good options here. We got 2 in the rings, though, so if we can get to the nose or even a little high and bump this.
Yeah, ideally put it, position it somewhere in front of that red, close to it, and then you can start running guards back and hope that this rock that she's about to throw will stay in the house.
We need a big shot here if I'm Sweden. Like, we got to at least scare Carrie here soon. We haven't really put much fear into her since early in the game.
Yeah, so far not a lot of pressure.
That first end, right, was the only time that really Team Wrana had any pressure.
All the momentum right now with Carrie Einarson, so sometimes it's one of those things. Oh dear.
No bueno.
Little air ball there, not what they were looking for.
Oh gosh. Oof. Now if Carrie beats her there and freezes on that.
Do we block that or throw
I think you got to get right in there, Val.
Yeah, I like this call.
Okay, short of it's okay. I thought I threw a lot on the guard and it still died, so.
Talking about the speed.
Right to the nose of yours. But we don't want to move it, better to be short.
This is where you find out if the guys used to joke a little bit more, I think, than maybe the ladies, but if I threw one through the house and then the next person was also heavy, probably mostly just to make myself feel better, I would just walk over and say, you must have thought I really sucked, eh? It's fast there.
Yeah, I imagine that would be more common in the men's game than the women's game.
And depending on who you're playing, but really that's some information, and that's why you're watching your timing. It's like, wow, that didn't look that heavy out of her hand, and it's through the rings. So
yeah. Well, and it is hard when you watch the other team do that, and that wasn't really very close, unfortunately, for Team Wrana with weight. So then you go, Jesus, it really
what
fast
happened?
there? Yeah.
A good shot, and Val said, short's okay, and that's not my favorite comment just before we shoot.
No,
because short is okay, but how good was frozen there? Like, block up the end, we're going to steal, you freeze there.
Yeah, I think you can afford to be a little aggressive with that, and I don't think that that's where Val's head was, to throw that to make it, because it's such a big opportunity.
Yeah.
And, what's the worst thing that can happen? Even if you tap it an inch, it's still problematic for Team Wrana. So I think definitely she's right with that being the tolerance, but I think...
That's front end thinking, Chelsea. We know that. Come on, you want to think like that, you play front end. This could end up really good, and this is close. Well, they actually needed to sweep it.
Yeah.
That could have rolled right behind the corner, opened up shot rock. If that stays in the rings, though, hello, Deuce.
Still not bad, but yeah, if they swept that a little and it stayed buried over there, all of a sudden, those are so nicely frozen, but it's a bit scary now with that
makes
yellow
a good
over there.
bump on the center, especially on the center line side, and you're going to be like...
Coming through this way is going to be tighter.
Yeah, a little tap freeze on the high side and unlock that. It's...
we played this path earlier.
Okay. I like the call. Needs to be precise. This is... there's no hard... I guess the freeze was always known as the hardest shot in curling, whether it is or it isn't. Who knows? But guards require as much precision as any shot because you have to match the speed with the line.
Especially on ice that finishes like this. So
exactly.
There's so much management that goes into a guard. It seems everyone's programmed to think a guard's an easy shot. It's one of the harder shots out there to make perfect because there's so many factors. And you hear the communication, if you're doing it right, becomes... we want a tight guard, and then the sweepers say, well, we're not there, and then you say, okay, well, then it's got to go straight because it's going to over curl if it's light, and if it's heavy, it's going to under curl. So then, okay, well, if it's heavy, we need curl at the end, and it turns into this whole communication piece with guards that's super, super important that you see the top teams do really well. But it's definitely not an easy shot, even though in everybody's head, including mine, as somebody who's done this my whole life, you think it should be, but it isn't.
If a team is making a lot of precise guards, they're throwing it really well and really similar.
Yeah. And managing it well in shot. Good communication with the sweepers and the person in the house and everything.
This looks perfect. Good shot. So, is there room? There's room on the intern side, but at least for if you're Team Einarson, cheering for them, that at least they won't be shot rock. If they left the other side, they could have done this and been shot, but somehow she needs to free it up. Keep 3 yellows in the house. And Carrie's going to have to probably play an out-turn freeze. But a miss here would be... So this is where my Swedish really hurts us, because I'd love to know if they're talking about Almeida, and they've probably already talked about it. Almeida probably came down and said, sorry, skipper, I just threw that 6 feet harder than I wanted to. And
right, yeah.
Probably that was more, I overset it. I got it running for too long, and that made it 6 feet heavier. One of those two things.
But important to talk about that, to your point, because you don't want Isabella going down there thinking it was one thing when you know as the thrower that it wasn't that thing. So I'm sure that they did. We won't ever know for sure because neither of us speak Swedish. But a team this good, I can't imagine they're not having that conversation.
12-1, and that's a sweep.
So a super tough shot, but no other choice. I'm going to go back 8-foot weight here when it hits. Get it onto about 3/4.
Ideally, you don't want to get all the way to the nose with this, to your point. You'd like to stay frozen on just on the edge corner of it. Over
lost
curling
the
there.
line there, yeah.
They weren't worried about it early.
Not bad.
Do you like the guard again?
I don't like the guard because she's already told you she was pointing at those corner guards, and now she's got 2 kickers. So don't force somebody to play a shot for 2 or 3. Just
Yeah, I'm with you. I like sitting third here.
I don't think you're.
You don't even need to be second.
What if we went like
No, you could go in front of it.
Yeah.
But if it just over curls, you might leave her a double.
Yeah, you probably want to be a piece buried, so then you won't be in front of it.
If you go to where Val's broom is behind the tee line and leave it double, is there room by the guard? Probably, eh?
Probably, yeah.
So we've got to be precise. Just has to be top half of the house.
Yep.
You know, biting the 4-foot at most. And just an inch, just an edge buried.
As long as you don't count those two other yellows, it's not bad, but you could put some pressure on here by making this really precise.
You could hit the wide one. I mean, you could play the wide hit and roll in. That gets you,
get another one in.
Just where to sit
if you were worried.
I think you got lots of room in here.
Still not an easy score. How would they score?
If we're anywhere 4 foot, we got to be.
Yeah, you could hit the wide one. I like the draw because it doesn't. There's lots of places it can be where they're not getting more than one.
Yeah.
And
What
if you
is
make
there?
it good, then
If Isabella's shooting now, what would she play for one? She might.
like you could. I guess you could sort of straight draw, or you could kind of come off that red, but it's not easy. You don't because the angle's not great for
The
your
old
shooter to
fadeaway,
come
we'd
in
call
there.
it, right?
Yeah,
Curling
exactly.
away from where you're headed is always hard.
Yeah, anytime you got to come across the face and have it just chisel like that, it gets really precise.
Yeah, I like that for.
So I think she's decided to draw in front of it, basically.
Hey guys, what do you think here for speed? Okay.
14, 14, 2.
Like we could hit that outside one and then
Yeah.
what does she have?
Still not convinced here, is she?
No, it doesn't seem like it.
Okay, 14-2.
Kan man få den att spela på sjuan?
Sorry.
Kan man få den om man spelar?
You're Sweden, you're thinking, can she be like 6 feet heavy and bump this on the, like about, half, 3/4 and bump it 3 feet?
Yeah, that would be a gift back.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
No. I'm keeping my birthday presents. Never panicked.
Going to try to get this by the wide guard.
This guard was not in play.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
12-6.
I'd have got it.
Threw it hard and wide.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that blue, the blue one, the yellow one on the blue thing.
I was like, where are you seeing blue rocks?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I see that one coming in.
Yeah. Right on the HearingLife logo up there. On an angle, potentially for 3.
I don't see anything else really. Maybe draw, but that's harder than this, and this is for 3. So
Yeah, and I think if you I think you maybe can see enough of the red to blast it, but it's hard to get it all the way to the house. Number 1, and number 2, it might go onto that
It looks
side
like it-
yellow, doesn't it?
good chance if it hits the first yellow, which there's a very good chance of that. And like you said, not super lively houses this week. So does that go that far?
Yeah, I don't. So this is by far the best result, and it's not any harder, I don't think, than any of the other options. So
And this
why not
one's-
try the one for 3?
This one's definitely there.
Yeah, and again, we've got the right person in the hack for it. Bella can throw really hard, so which you need to make this, but it's definitely there.
This would turn this game on its head. They've
It
kind
would.
of felt like nothing's going their way, and now all of a sudden they got a shot for 3.
This is a potential momentum shifter because right now it's all with Team Einarson. So huge shot here from Isabella Wrana.
Doesn't sound great to me.
Don't like it.
Dodged a bullet. Team Einarson keeping the shutout going 3-0 as we head into the fourth end break over Team Wrana from Sweden. We'll be back after a couple-minute break here for more quarterfinal action.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Goldline's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Goldline.
It's a Goldline.
It's a Goldline.
And is the choice of champions.
Det är lite svårt med farterna.
What's interesting though is yours is probably one of the only spots in the shoot.
It's probably nice. Yeah.
Even then, I think if we were brooms off, it would have been back house.
So, we're in a very good scenario. It's not super easy, like drawing, setting up, loose.
Yeah.
Let's make it tough. Let's get two in and get a nice
Ja.
Okay, so pass. I'd say we could throw out for you, Kristen. I think this intern is probably a little.
Line them up nice. Even if you're like four in the first one, it's okay. Like we'll get a nice one in front of it. But like let's give it the sweepers a chance on it.
Yeah.
Yours definitely look like you're slower too. I know, like you're. When you threw like going away, I was like, oh,
Ja.
it looks hot. And you like popped it. It looked like you got it running, and it just hooked and over curl.
And I don't want to give you too much more ice for it because you're going to be way in the frost. But I think I might have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never play the
Extra på slutet, för de har ju fått
Or we
start
just
då. Det är de vi har tappat om någonsin.
I think it's too hot.
Kör vi.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like.
Yeah, stick to what we know.
Det var sagt till typ som att den åkte led. Åh helvete.
Yeah, I almost have to like just go speed. I worry if I put too much pressure, I'm gonna burn more.
Kan vi göra något? Nej, jag tror bara. Det känns som att det gått lite led. Vi får ta det lite försiktigt med high fives med Bella.
Nope, just sliding around.
Good afternoon, curling fans. Good morning in some parts of Canada, I guess. Like I said, and I guess good evening in Europe for those tuning in, and I don't know, good tomorrow maybe in Asia. What time is it over there? I don't know. But we're at the HearingLife Tour Challenge Grand Slam of Curling. I'm Brent Lang, joined by two-time Canadian champion Chelsea Carey, and we've had a game here, Chelsea, that's been all Team Einarson, 3-0. I mean, not insurmountable by any means, but it just feels like nothing's quite going right for Team Wrana.
Actually feels like it's more than 3-0. I'm sure that's how both teams feel for Team Einarson. You're almost frustrated that it's only 3-0.
Right.
And for Team Wrana, you have to be thinking, well, you know, it could be so much worse than this. You know, they take on that guard in the third end. I think they can't shake hands because they have to play 5 ends, but they might have wanted to.
I was thinking about après curl, yeah.
Yeah, so for Team Wrana, you have to kind of be almost happy, which sounds ridiculous when you're down 3-0, but it's just kind of been one of those games where it's still in your reach and it probably shouldn't be. So take advantage of that if you're a Swedish curling fan.
Totally. That corner guard got over there a little bit farther, but not too bad. It's a Team Holman cheer. Gotta love the pro-Canadian crowd. One of the things I'm excited about that I'm hearing rumblings of is Grand Slams outside of Canada. I think that would be pretty cool. Let's take this show on the road.
Absolutely, that would be awesome.
We did have one scheduled for Vegas.
Right,
then
COVID year.
That COVID thing.
Yeah, I remember that. I was all looking forward to it. We were all disappointed. I mean, for a number of reasons with COVID, but curling in Vegas, pretty fun.
So I don't know any locations, but I know that nothing's off the table. I will say that. I don't think we're going to Siberia. Jen curled in Siberia one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Norlisk or something?
Yeah, the Arctic Cup or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, we're back here in PEI, Charlottetown. Be where your feet are,
We're not
Brent.
in Siberia.
No, my
Thank goodness.
brain goes weird places sometimes, but 2 good ones from Kristen. I didn't say she wasn't going to miss, so I didn't jinx her this time.
You were talking about Siberia, and she makes all her shots.
Perfect. Look away when I'm shooting, please, Brent. So, called a come around here? I would have expected another guard, but whatever they're doing, they don't love the speed because they're not touching Linda's first one here. Get it buried. Yes, that's buried. It's not too bad. It's a little too deep. You can chase it.
Yeah, unfortunately
Ooh, not even close to buried.
It was fully buried. She's undercurled with that rock almost every time. I wonder if that one is a little bit straight, maybe.
We watched Team... What's their name? Team Ben Hebert. What's that team called?
It's Jacobs now, but...
It should be called Team Hebert by now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it was up to him, he would love that.
They had a couple of tough rocks, and that was on that sheet, and it was the first draw, so no chance I remember the color. But I remember Benny had a...
They were yellow because we threw them as well, and there was
one was
one
straight
that was
and one was cutting, I think, and they happened to be Ben's second and Brett's first, and that's not a good combo, but...
Yeah,
so
we
good shot there.
We saw that with that set of rocks too. There's a cutter and a straight one, so probably that's the case for...
Hard to believe that pieces of granite would do different things, but then if you really think about it, they're pieces of granite. Have you ever seen 2 rocks the same?
No, exactly.
So
snowflakes.
Huge part. Yeah, that's not a compliment.
No, yeah, you don't want them to be.
People or rocks. Oh yeah, he's a total snowflake. Okay. That's not great.
No.
That's why we keep the rock books. And another question for you, Chelsea, that I just noticed this week, and that goes back to the new Team Canada idea, but I think I saw an email going around to a bunch of different teams saying, do you want to be in our rock book group?
Yep, there was. It was sent out to everybody. I think from what I understand, what has happened with the national team program, to your point, is that there's been some information provided to the national teams of rock orders of the international teams. So that is not happening this week. And so I think some of the players sort of took it upon themselves to try to create it.
Okay.
And there was an email sent to everybody to ask them to fill in a Google document if they wanted to be part of it.
Have you spoken to your wonderful coach, Glenn Howard, about that yet? I have some feelings about how he may feel about that.
No, actually, I'm not sure if he knows that. He's couldn't join us here this week.
He's got a wedding. It's Wayne Madaw's daughter's wedding. Congratulations to the Madaw family. Another big curling name, but Glenn will hate that.
Yeah.
Because he always thought it was as much a skill of curling as anything else, reading tracking the rocks, throwing it well enough that you can read them, and then understanding when one's not doing what you want it to. So interesting. The rock numbers people get all the time. I mean, saving people from coming to the... I'm a coach, speaking as a coach now. It is annoying, and I can't do it very well with those damn binoculars.
I know, and I'm the same. And so that's all it is with the shared document.
Numbers?
It's just orders. So all it does is save your coach from having to do that. And so for a team like us, where we didn't have Glenn with us this week, that was, that's good information for us to have. And it's not information that you couldn't get yourself. It's just essentially saving the work of doing that. No one's putting in there that they think the 5 is a cutter. They're just telling you the order that they threw them
with
in.
the streaming, you can just take screenshots and zoom in, and you get it yourself. Yeah. You don't have to leave your hotel room ever now.
It's true, every game. And so
that's another beautiful thing about streaming all the games all week long. Val just peeling this off. The problem here, I mean, it's good enough, I think. It's getting late enough anyway, but... So Team Wrana has a rock in there, but it's 4th shot, and I don't see a triple. I'd be giggling too if I was up 3-0 just boat racing the team, but...
Yeah, so everything continues to go right for Team Einarson, and unfortunately for Team Wrana, the opposite for them.
Yeah, and we talked about this on air, I think, and again, referencing Glenn, obviously a big part of my curling life. He always liked to have a rock that curled more. And so people would steal our rock numbers all the time, but would have no idea why. And then you'd see a skip kind of rub a guard and be like, oh, I thought I threw that great.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you probably did.
And there are lots of, especially men's skips, that do that. And so then, like for us, when we're looking at somebody's order, we're like, hey, but does he want a cutter? Like, is he purposely
throwing? Is he
one
of those guys?
Right. Is he a skip that wants matched
Yeah.
rocks, or is he a skip that wants a cutter? And there's some that and there's some that don't always necessarily do the same thing. So it can be, it can, in theory, it can help you as much as it can hurt you, as far as, you're throwing an order based on somebody else, but maybe they want that.
Right.
Or maybe they give the bad rock to their second instead of to their lead or whatever. Like everybody
really
kind of
don't
can take
know.
a different approach. So then the order, in theory, helps you, but maybe not in practice, depending on whose information you're getting and how much you know about them as a team.
And maybe let's just pay attention in practice and see if we can match our
Well,
own rocks.
that's the thing too. Is like at some point you have to take the order, but then you have to use your eyes and be like, okay, well that one curled every time. Maybe we should, think of it as a cutter or move it around or do whatever you're going to do. You can't base it all on what other teams have done.
I thought maybe Isabella here was working this up for the top double, maybe even triple wouldn't quite be there, but needs to use her "can I throw twice in a row" card.
Yeah.
Because there's no triples, and Carey continues to lie 3, and this is Almeida's second shot, so not a ton of time left. Got to start removing these red ones. I guess you could double and roll over. That would be really good. You got to risk leaving a double for Carey, I think.
Yeah, it looks like she's playing the freeze on the wide one, hoping that if you make this good, then she blasts everything, then you can make the double and sit 2, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, no, she's hitting it. Sorry, I thought she was freezing.
You never know. Different skips hold the broom. Most skips would hold the broom in front of the rock for this hit, right?
Yeah.
Sounds good. That's got to get out of the rings. That can't stay.
Ooh, it looks like it hung on, but I think the yellow might be out counting
I think it does
so
the trick.
It's good enough.
But that's a force rock. Blank's
yeah, it
gone
is.
now, probably. He knows for now.
Yeah, I like that.
And then what is Isabella going to do? How are they going to set you up for a double here? Hit and roll probably behind it.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're hitting the back one and rolling behind Carey's shooter.
Good shot, and then Carey.
Hope she misses the run back, and even if she doesn't, like if she makes it, you might have a chase for 2.
Interesting though, if that works out that way, there'll be a little bit of space, and if she ever got a big miss, it all of a sudden would be tie game.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
Wild.
Yeah. Really fun for us. Not so fun for Carey, probably.
And they haven't done anything wrong, so Carey can make a good shot here. Isabella could. They've made every shot really.
Well, it's like that's the 5 rock rule, right? We were talking about it earlier. You're never safe, which is why it's so much fun for us as spectators, but why it's so stressful for the curlers. It takes years off your life worrying about that stuff when you haven't missed a shot.
I gotta tell
what
you,
could we have done differently?
No offense to you taking over the team, but I enjoy watching women's curling a lot more this year. I find it a lot less stressful. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but
it's a mystery.
Yeah. It's hard watching games you really care about. I mean, you grew up doing that, watching your dad. And
I did, yeah. And then he unfortunately had to.
And I got to think it's a lot worse for him.
Oh yeah, it's funny because when last year when I wasn't really playing, I was just sparing and stuff. And all my friends said it was the same thing, that it was so much more enjoyable. And then when the announcement came out that I was taking over this team, they're all like, "I'm happy for you, but man, like now I'm gonna age it." All of my I need to get back on the blood pressure medication kind of thing.
Hitting this one, you could nose.
Yeah, I think if she rolls under.
Then there's an ocean to draw to on the other side, so trying to hit and roll kind of half under?
Yeah, that's my guess, and hope that you roll half under, then for her to get the back one, she'd have to, in theory, shoot your yellow further into the house, right? Like you'd have to hit that on the...
Yeah, almost the overroll might be better, but
yeah,
you need to be shot here, or else she just draws the open side, so... I don't hate the call you mentioned, maybe that freeze on shot rock here.
Yeah, I would be tempted to do that too. Even if you make this roll perfect, I think Carey's got a pretty short little run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah! Whoa! Yeah! Yeah! Whoa!
Close.
Yeah! Whoa! Whoa! Yeah!
Yep, whoa is always good.
Yeah, that's what you want to be hearing. Oh, I think it rolled a little too far, didn't it?
I think that's not shot.
I agree.
But I don't know. Carey, Val will tell us.
I think we're still playing this though, eh?
Yeah, I do think we might be shot, but...
If you're shot, then really you just draw the open side.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that comment, actually. Carey saying, I think either way you're playing this. I don't think so. I think if you're shot, you're drawing the open side.
If you're shot, how does she get 2?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think she does.
Yeah, if you don't throw, I don't know how she gets 2.
Yeah, I like that
Good point.
Like 7, 8, 6.
So I would be tempted not to hit this then,
This is where the front ender, if me, I might meet Carey halfway and say, are we, like, is it close or are we sure?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because it's not a still play this. I mean, Carey will make this anyway.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
It is, but it's the only way you could potentially give them 2 is if you hit this wrong. I don't think you can give them 2 if you don't even throw.
If you're shot, I agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. That's all predicated on you being shot. Otherwise, It doesn't make any sense at all. But going to take this on, and like you said, I mean, it's not really that difficult a shot. You have to think she'll make it, but just a worthwhile conversation. Like you said, I would want my front end players to come down there and ask that question.
Another yep, whoa, so that's good.
Pretty close. Pretty much perfect, actually. Couldn't make that much better.
So the weight of the world continues to come down on Team Wrana, it seems. And a tough draw against 3 to really stay in the game. What else we got going on over here? 2-2 next to us. Caitlin Laws, Team Laws, stealing one in the 4th on Stefania Constantini from Italy. So they're 2-2 playing the 5th. Rachel Holman in pretty good control here, up 3 without the hammer though against Team Gim from Korea in the 5th end.
Yeah, we have 4 minutes.
And Team Gim got on the board with the deuce, so it's 5-2, but they're still trailing Fujisawa and do not have the hammer, although they are lying 3 this end, so there's a flicker of hope. Curling early, you heard Carrie say that's not good for Isabella.
What you want.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oof. Count them up.
Count them up.
Yikes. That's a big steal of 3 and 6-0, and that's going to take a lot of air out of the balloon from Sweden. And they're saying, I know that, they're saying, should we quit?
Yeah, I thought you might hear some Velcro, but...
I think they have to play 6 in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, you're right, too.
That could have also been what they were saying in Swedish. Can we quit? But
yeah,
that's all but going to wrap this one up. But we're going to take a quick break and come back and show you probably what's going to be the last end in the 6th end. 6-0 Team Einarson over Team Wrana in the quarterfinals of the HearingLife Tour Challenge.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Welcome back to the action. I'm interested how many people from around the world, maybe that's a poll we'll have to do, but we are streaming live from, I was almost going to say Charlotte. No, we're not in North Carolina. We are in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island in the east coast of Canada, and we're coming to you for the first of 5 Grand Slam of curling events. I'm Brent Lang, joined by Chelsea Carey. We're watching quarterfinal action for the ladies. And good news for Team Einarson fans. If you're watching from Gimli, Manitoba, you're probably having a good time on this Saturday now, early afternoon, I think, in Manitoba. No, late morning. But Team Einarson putting together a bit of a clinic, and Team Wrana just nothing quite going their way. Not that far off, but except for that last one there. Isabella would like to have that one back, but down 6-0 and in need of a bit of a miracle. Winner goes to the semifinal, which is tonight at 8 o'clock. Loser goes to the après curl. And I would not want to be the coach. I would not want to be Freddie right now for Team Sweden. Not allowed to go to the karaoke last night, and then they come out and don't play very well.
Yeah, maybe if they sang karaoke,
Coach, if I was allowed to,
better.
yeah, if I could have expressed myself last night, got some confidence and worn a belt to the game, I probably would have steamrolled this team.
Have to reevaluate that strategy.
Right? That's it. I talked to Fry a little bit last night on the full house coverage, the full couch. We sat on a couch, a love seat, all 4 of us, but
it looks pretty cozy in the picture I saw.
It was so hot, Chelsea. Like it was like snuggling with 3 other dudes for 2 hours, and I loved every minute of it. It was fun. But we talked about the powers that coaches have and don't have. I mean, your dad, longtime coach, so I'm sure he had, you knew exactly what to expect from him and vice versa. But Canadian coaches generally have had almost no power in terms of team decisions, in terms of if there is a 5-person player who plays, in terms of timeouts, strategies, all those things. And we saw a timeout called from the bench in the U.S. game the other night, and so that kind of sparked the conversation. But do you see that changing in Canada?
I think I think you're probably going to see Curling Canada look to change it a bit. I'm not sure how they can implement that and sort of force the players to go along with it. But
right.
Yeah, I think you've got a guy coming in like David Murdoch who comes from a situation where the coach did have more control and more power and those kinds of things. And certainly you see it from the international teams a lot more than the Canadian teams. I think you're going to see, again, it's a huge shift in culture for anyone who's would like to age themselves with you and I as far as that goes, and has been around long enough to kind of have experienced it the way it is. And I don't think you're going to want to. The players are going to want to see that be the case, but I do think you're going to look to see that, and I think you see it a little bit with some of the university programs now. With you go to the University of Alberta and those kinds of things, and I think those coaches have more say.
You get Krebsy-ized.
Yeah, exactly. Than has traditionally been the case.
Good, successful track record, so it's hard to argue with certain things, right?
It's true, and so I do think you're going to see a push for that. I don't know how fast or how successful it'll be, but I think that's going to be the way they're looking to move it. By they, I mean Curling Canada.
So it's coming, but we're going kicking and screaming.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha. That's how I feel too, but it's again, up to every team to decide how do we operate, who's in charge of what's everybody's role, what kind of team are we.
Well, and I think that's the thing is I actually like it. There's nothing saying that a Canadian coach can't have that power, but the players get to decide to give the coach that power.
Right.
So it's still so then in theory you could argue that the power is in the hands of the players to say, hey, you decide. Mm-hmm. So you feel like you have some more control and say as a player. So that's going to be hard, I think, to get people to want to give up. But like you said, when you look at the international teams and the results and things, it can be hard to make an argument against
it's working other places.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's an interesting conversation for sure. A decent shot there, and got some yellows kicking around, but those 3 reds in the forefoot are a bit of a problem, and it's kind of cruise control. See a yellow one, hit a yellow one for Einarson is the strategy at the moment. But
eliminate yellow rocks doesn't get a lot simpler than that when you're up 6 points. Just hit anything yellow.
We rip center, they could hit roll.
The one thing, especially in Canada, and lots of team changes, is should a coach be in charge of that? It's like, ooh, that's a big responsibility. I don't think you want that as a coach.
No, I don't think I would as a coach, but
you don't want it as a skip. I know you don't. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's tough to manage yourself though. Like it's a good and a bad thing. It's a bit of a double-edged sword because it's you like having the control in theory, but then you have to be the person to make those calls and and these people you're friends with and that kind of thing, and you got to make a business decision about somebody that you're friends with and you're responsible, and it just gets pretty messy. So
it can.
Yeah, it can be good, but it can be bad, and that's just how it's been for a long time. But like again, we see the international teams where the players don't make those decisions. In a lot of cases, the decisions are made for them.
Maybe we need team owners.
Yeah, like a
manager.
A GM, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Good shot. Okay.
Call up Jerry Jones and see if he wants a curling team.
Yeah, and that's better than pushing them on. That's what I'm worried about.
So a little bit of action here, and I mean, score of 2, it's probably still handshakes, down 4 without the hammer with 2 to go, but 3 would keep the game going, so that's what the Swedish ladies are looking for here.
Unfortunately, like you said, those 3 red rocks in the forefoot are a pretty big problem. The one back button maybe you don't hate so much, but the 2 top button I don't love if I'm Isabella Wrana.
I don't like where that one stopped.
No, that's not terribly helpful. And
straight peel here, and that opens up a very easy double on the yellows, and a bit of a ticking time bomb here. Don't want to burst the bubble of all you Swedes getting ready for a nice dinner, but they're in dire straits here.
It's not looking good.
They need what we saw last game. Second on Team Craig.
Watch that yellow.
Mr. Bryce burnt a rock like it was his thumb, like a peel, and made it literally went from hitting half a rock to missing the rock.
Oh dear.
But then he made up for it. He swept his brains out on the freeze and got them back out of it. So, but it happens.
It does. Yeah, I feel like at this point, Team Wrana might need more than one of those given to them.
Yeah. Trying to tap these around and create some catchers. Still going to leave a double that Val's never going to miss. We'll tap this, create a pocket back forefoot. Probably want to roll off of it. Otherwise, then you might have a tick-tick triple.
Yeah.
Let's see what she comes up with. Team Italy back in their comfort zone, Chelsea. They've given up 3 singles in a row, so they're down 1 and right where they want Caitlin.
Yeah, they got her right where they want her. They're feeling a little too in the lead there, so I've opened the door for Team Laws to get back into it, so we should have a good finish on that one.
Try and lose 2.
Pretty good shot there, but yeah, anywhere high with Peel, and just don't miss this one light. I think you're going to like it.
I have a feeling she won't miss it light.
No. Lefty out turn. Val Sweeting. 4-time Scotty's champ?
4-time, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. I would take it.
Right? Me too.
Good job.
Too easy. Big trouble. I think we might need to have another Grand Slam of karaoke tonight just for Team Wrana. They've had a rough day.
I agree with that.
I don't see why not. I just joined the band on stage. I'm sure there's another band in Après Curl tonight.
There
and
is.
That's about as nice of venues you can have for a patch-type Après Curl, full-on real stage, and then a nice lounge bar on the other side.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's a great setup. And yeah, I think it's a Tragically Hip tribute band tonight.
Oh, nice. It's literally like a concert hall.
Yeah, I didn't expect that when I went in. It's awesome.
Is there a morning draw tomorrow? Just lie to me and tell me no.
There might not be.
I think there is.
Yeah, I guess 2 sets of semis. No, semis be at
Maybe
the
they
same
go
time.
together. Yeah, good shot there. Setting up for the deuce here, which is nice, but a little too late. But it's nice to end on a positive here. See if they can get the deuce out of this. My new boss gives me she calls it my idiot sheet, I think. It's got the schedule on here, but it sent me astray earlier. Thankfully, Benny was watching and straightened me out. It has on here that the ladies, or the men's quarterfinals were first, but that is not true.
Not true at all.
So there is no morning game tomorrow, and we're back. Tragically Hip, here we come. Half of these, even the Canadians, the young Canadians here, they won't even know. Like, your team won't even know who they are.
I know, I said that. And
who?
Yeah, I was met with somewhat of a blank look. But
Taylor Swift's coming?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
My sources tell me they're a very good Tragically Hip cover band, too. So
nice. Well, there's lots of great music. Even the guys and gals been playing in the hallway here. We need to get them a better venue because, man, they've been just ripping the guitar and singing some
yeah, I didn't know that was
PI
happening.
folk
And I was
songs.
walking in here, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's live entertainment happening right in the breezeway.
You gotta love that about, especially Eastern Canada.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Go to Halifax. And
yeah, you can walk from pub to pub in Halifax, and all of them have live music, different genres, different people, and it's just, it's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite thing. I love that about the East Coast. Love a lot of things about the East Coast.
Absolutely. Carrie's just being mean now.
Yeah, it is pretty mean, honestly.
Nose hit here with
hit.
Firm, and you can lie too, but it's really hard to not leave a pretty makeable double.
Yep, that is true. No choice here, though, for Bella. Has to make it and hope for, again, Carrie hasn't missed much, but we're hoping that maybe she misses one here so you can get your 2.
Sometimes in a game like this, when you're way down, the peels get to throw them a little harder, a little bit more anger.
It's true.
It might have been the case there. That needs to stay. That might be the best way to get a deuce,
honestly,
actually.
yeah, that looks like a miss, but I think it was better the result than actually making the shot.
Carrie will probably just hit and roll to the other GSOC logo there on the other side of the 8-foot. And
take it all away if she does that. But if she were ever to nose it or roll, if you roll like a rock is the worst. Probably worst
nose
case
is pretty
scenario.
thin, right?
Nose is real thin, hard to stick.
Rock Val's broom side's fine, and
yep,
it's not a rock not a rock on the overcurl, but
yeah.
We shall see. I would expect nothing else, nothing other than a perfect hit and roll.
Yeah, well, she hasn't given us any reason to expect anything but that so far.
Toughest shot she had was that one in the first end, I think.
I agree.
And she made it. She just a little bit unlucky that it stopped and she didn't get 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's that little dead deadness of the rings, I think, on most surfaces with lively striking bands that we always talk about. She would have made that pretty easily, but house is a little bit dead here this week.
Right on the nose. That sounds like that's what they're playing the whole way.
Yeah, I think so.
Got to try the double, but it's thin. It's going to spin out a lot of the time.
That's the problem. It's thin to make, but it's even thinner to stick. If you throw the out turn at it, you're going to get that action up with the shooter spinning, and it's hard to get it to stay in the house.
The way it's been going for Wrana today, I would expect her to make this and spin over and just bump her other yellow
Yeah,
out.
that would be kind of story of the game for them, unfortunately.
You might want to throw this in with just kind of like solid normal or like a firm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think the way to make it is to throw it a little less weight. Like you could throw it with the in turn and have an easier time sticking the shooter, but you have to hit so thin that it's hard to want to do that. Yeah.
This one's going to have to look bad early. If you hear whoa early, you got a chance.
Yeah, if they're sweeping this early, she's probably not making it. You got to have air for a lot of the way down the sheet on this one.
Ooh, looks like she's got a lot of air.
Yeah.
For a lot of the way down the sheet.
Too much air, I think. Oh, and that would be the story of the game. It's hard to hit that too thin.
Great effort. Yeah, you think there's no way we can hit it too thin. If I kill the top one, we're going to get the double, and that's handshakes and a convincing win for Team Carey Einarson off to the semifinals tonight at 8 o'clock and earning themselves an extra half hour's rest, which sounds silly but is big on these two-game days. And the end of the road for Team Wrana, a successful week, I would think, by many accounts. Not the result they were looking for today, but quarterfinals, playoff points, a little bit of money in the pocket, and off to the après curl tonight to hit the stage, I imagine. But thanks for joining us, Chelsea. I'm Brent Lang, and for Chelsea Carey, myself, Home Team Live, Grand Slam of Curling, and the Curling Group, we're signing off. We'll be back 4 o'clock local time, which I think is that's 3 o'clock Eastern, for the men's quarterfinals. Non-stop action, but just flip over to one of the other streams, or I'm sure you already have it on Sportsnet. All the action live all the time. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.